Dear audience of the Maritime SheEO and the second edition of what is now the world's biggest diversity conference in our global maritime industry. It has been an amazing day, packed with program and packed with engaged and passionate diversity-focused leaders, talents, owners from all over the world. We are delighted to see how this is a topic that truly mobilizes and engage people. And for the first time, we have also taken the initiative to connect family business owners across from the Norwegian and Indian sector. Earlier today, we hosted a similar session focused on fueling female entrepreneurship in our industry. That is the next new generation of coming family business owners, we hope. But today we have now gathered a quite outstanding group of very committed and dedicated owners. My name is Birgit Lioden. I am the founder of the Ocean Opportunity Lab and third generation owner sitting in Norway. I work with EY and Mette Ballari, who's in from their side, who is the lead of their work on family business capacity building. Also from the Norwegian side, we have Paul Christian Riber, who is the fourth generation ship owner and CEO of the GC Riber. He's also the president of the Norwegian Ship Owners Association. And with us is also Katrine Riber, who is the fifth generation of the Riber Group. From the Indian side, we have Anisha Ramakrishnan, third generation owner from Transworld, Vaibhav Bora, third generation and MD for Continental Group. We have Mr. Saifuddin Haji and Muhammad Haji, first and second generation of the SHM Group, Kruti Jubanputra, second generation and director at JWC Logistics Park. And we are also joined later by Sanjeev and Kirtan Vakil, first and second generation maritime education. And this session is a little bit special because we will now have an open plenary part where the owners will discuss some of the perspectives that they look at when it comes to the focus on family-owned companies for the future and the business case for diversity and sustainability. Then when we are done with the plenary session, the owners will continue in a closed roundtable meeting to continue the discussions. And I'm really looking forward to experience and seeing both of the sessions here today. So then we will just cut to the chase. And this topic that we are going into today, first of all, we are starting to look at this from within the family business owner sides and exploring what do they consider as the key capabilities and dynamics that characterize a robust, innovative family business that can sustain and succeed long-term amidst those multiple shifts that our industry are undergoing. So I wanted to hear now a little first round around the table to set some introductory perspectives. And as we are a big group of people, I also ask everyone to come with some short initial statements so that we can really create a good interactive discussion. And then I would like to hear first, just to set the stage a little bit from the Norwegian side, I invite the Norwegian Ship Owners Association's president and the boss of Riber Group, Paul Christian, to share his perspectives.
Yes, hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear, Paul Christian.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I really look forward to this session. On a general note, and from the Norwegian maritime and shipping industry perspective, of course, I represent a sector of business which has traditionally been dominated by males. From the older role play or distribution of roles that has traditionally been in society. However, from the Norwegian Ship Owners Association, we have started a very conscious program to recruit women to the industry and to make it attractive for young talents to enter. It is a tough job. It takes a while. It takes time. There are a bit of surprises, but it's also so rewarding because now we see the results coming. We have a lot of young, promising women entering the industry, and actually, I was the lucky president of the Norwegian Ship Owners Association. I was leading the first board meeting ever in our association where there was equal number of women and men around the table on the board of this association. And this is the result of many, many years of efforts. And so we also see in other parts of the sector. So that was a few reflections to start with, Birgit.
Thank you, Per Christian. And then to add from the Indian perspective, just to start off, I would like to invite Mr. Haji to also contribute with your perspectives from the other side.
It's great to be part of this particular discussion and to understand and reflect with the various people in the forum. I have been associated with the maritime industry now for the last, I think, almost 35-40 years, and I have seen it changing and evolving over the years, taking into account the various developments in technology, in the changing in the world business patterns, the requirements. And one of the things which I strongly believe in is that we have to be always ready for the change. And that is what has helped us also to look at the vision forward. Initially, it was thought that the challenges of marine are basically male oriented. And as a result, some of the, what I would say, operations and the deputation of personnel in actually operating the vessel or on others on the ship repair side, etc., was basically inclined towards the male industry. But now I feel that with the changing world scenario, automation, and also the various technological innovations and the thinking processes, things going online, the better understanding between the various genders now. And I personally believe that over the last 10 years at SHM, we have slowly given more and more preferences to the women employees who have got value addition to the company in terms of new ideas, HR, in terms of in the software developments, online platforms. So there are various areas, and I personally find that even in an office environment, if there is there is genders of both the sides working, then there is better efficiency and better understanding, rather than just having a one-sided affair. So looking forward, I think it will definitely be a long-term policy, and it should be something which the Maritime Administration, etc., is also, Indian Maritime Administration is also interested and have been trying to promote the seafarers, the female seafarers, also encouraging female participation in the marine industry. Of course, I I come from the other side of the business where I'm not a ship owner, but we do shipbuilding and ship repair work. And therefore, looking at it from that perspective, I think there is a lot of roles which the women people can play into this particular industry as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Haji. Then I would like to hear from Anisha Ramakrishnan from Transworld. Hi, Anisha.
Hi, firstly, thank you for having me. It's great to be on this panel. But just a quote that I'm remembered by and I wanted to share is by Margaret Thatcher. So I believe she said, if you want something said, ask a man. But if you want something done, ask a woman. But jokes aside, I think in this day and age, I think in 2021, I think it is possible to have that balance, and I think it is necessary. And I feel like there are government interventions in place that are being done in India as well as worldwide. I think that are keeping that into the context and seeing it through. So I feel even as Mr. Saifuddin was saying, in terms of having more women seafarers, I think that's something that they are looking at. I think Sanjam is also playing a big part in terms of getting that together and, you know, having that as a key discussion point. So there is a lot being done, but obviously there can always be much more. But I think besides in the seafarer aspect of it, I think also in the business sense, there are much more women that are entering the senior management roles as well. So there is definitely a change that's coming about. And yeah, and it'd be great to discuss it with everyone as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anisha. Then, Vaibhav, we also discussed a little bit before we came on stage. So I'm also very much looking forward, based on your previous session today, also to hear your perspectives on capabilities and dynamics of good, robust family companies ahead.
So thank you so much for having me here, and it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of this forum discussion. So just as you know, my colleagues stated, Mr. Haji, Mr. Reba, I believe you know, there is a strong intent and a desire now to bring in diversity in all aspects of business. And you know, from what my colleagues have said before, I think being a third generation family member, and something that Migit and I were discussing before the session started, was that, look, with a global perspective that we come with in business today, we really see the value that diversity brings to business, and you know, that the approach, not just on the human capital management side, but on the business side. You know, in fact, in an earlier session, we discussed about how it was a challenge initially to attract talent, you know, female talent to the industry or to the business, because it had its challenges. You know, there were safety concerns or security concerns or whatever may be the case, at least when I talk about the India perspective. And it was not the industry of choice. You know, you had finance, or you had other software industries that gave a more secured ecosystem, you know, for women to operate in. But if yes, moving forward, the intent and the desire that is there today, and I believe that's our perspective to discuss further on that, as well as to bring in that ecosystem which attracts more talent into our maritime industry, and how, as you know, even when back about us, is also, you know, as an LSP, can bring in women to stronger decision-making roles, and even attract them on boards, you know, and not just on the softer aspects of the business, but actually hard operational decisions, because, you know, once talent is brought in, they gain the experience, and they add value, and we see that value coming today. It's just being able to attract more and more. So I think very, very happy to be a part of this discussion and discuss further as we move along.
Thank you so much, Vaibhav. And then we have Katrina, going back to Norwegian side again. Katrina, I know that you have also some really good perspectives that we have discussed when it comes to the new requirements that are kind of both looking on the long term and the agility part in this environment we're operating in. Would you care to elaborate?
I would just first like to say that I completely agree with everyone who's already spoken that it is a very important topic to discuss, and also to discuss the diversity topic in a broader sense, because and especially the maritime industry has traditionally been very male dominated, but we do see a shift towards more and more female in the industry as a whole, and also in management positions, which is a very, very positive development. And I think we just have to keep on working towards attracting more women to the industry and to management positions, because I think you know, combining the two and also diversity in a bigger sense will bring value to the people in the organization, which will then bring value back to the business, because people thrive better, people get challenged in a different way, and you get a different kind of discussion and hence innovation and development inside of the business. So it's a more interesting way of working as well if you have diversity within the business.
Thank you, Katrina. And then our last participant out for this part before we give the word the next round out is Kruti.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. Good morning to some of y'all. Well, I don't have much to say because I'm sure everyone's already put in the points that are required. But yes, with the times that are changing, we are seeing a lot of female participation in various businesses, including logistics, which is a great thing. And over the years that I have been in my family business, I have seen and also encouraged a lot of women to join our company as well as the logistic industry. So it's a great thing that is happening. And like Sanjam also always says that, you know, we always need to keep motivating people. And I think sessions like this will only help us to motivate more females to join the industry.
Yes, and I think, I mean, the fact that you as owners in this industry actually join into a conference like this, organized as an entrepreneurial initiative globally, typically for a very broad span of the young generation and experienced professionals at the same environment, it's so important. And our next question to discuss and share input in is, and then one thing is when we are kind of establishing this sense of commitment that yes, we do believe that diversity is important. And then there is a huge, there's a huge span between starting to work with diversity and actually being able to take out the potentials, the value and the business potentials of utilizing and succeeding with recruiting, developing, bringing people up through the various levels. And so I wondered if you could share some of the perspectives and warmly welcome to share it in a little bit personal way on how you have seen this in your own organization, like taking this out into the operational side. Then, Per Christian, when we prepared for this, we talked about the need now for really utilizing all hands on deck, which is a term that we do know well from the maritime side. Would you mind also sharing some of your personal experiences on this side from the Rebers?
Yeah, thank you, Birgit. It's a long story, but there are a few milestones or a few backbones that you could use as a guide in this. And first of all, I think we need to have some agents, some ambassadors, some people that is really convinced and that is really convinced that it pays off to have a diversity in a commercial company. And these agents and ambassadors, they will have a rather tough job because they have to, in all settings, on all arenas, in all meetings, in all sessions, they will have to sort of repeat this many times until they get more agents and more ambassadors on board. So that's one backbone, if you like, one cornerstone in this. A second one is to find those women that is willing to sort of take the burden of being front runners, because it is a burden, because you will be more visible if you are one of few within a big crowd of men. You are one or a few women. You will be more visible. You will be observed. You will be sort of recorded, and of course, you run the risk of failing, which we do every now and then in business. We do mistakes. We fail. And that requires a rough skin to take on that role. And I had one female executive in our group, and she had a very easy approach to this. She said, let's stop talking about this. Just let me do the job. Just let me perform. And that will show everybody that also women can perform and deliver good results. And then my third cornerstone is, as you say, all hands on deck. If we limit our search to only, say, 50% of the workforce, that is the men's side, then we sort of limit our own innovation source, I would say. It is proven scientifically that innovation increases where people come in from different angles. As Katrine was also commenting on, men and women traditionally have different angles, different priorities, different ways of arguing, of approaching a challenge. So if you limit your sample to only half of the crowd, you lose the other half, which could sort of participate to ignite and to give discussions. And from all these discussions, that's where the innovation will come. So that's a few reflections and experiences from our group. Thank you.
Christian. And now I see also that Muhammad Haji has arrived. So I would actually like them to break up the current sequence and make sure that you can come on board, also sharing some perspectives. And Muhammad, we are going into the question on the how we have actually made experiences in our own companies or even ambitions when it comes to the value and the business potentials for how we on one side can recruit diversity, but also make sure that we build systems and organizations where we can take out the potentials of this diversity. So Mohammed, would you like to take the word and join the group discussion, please?
Thank you very much. When we look at our family business and the topic of diversity, it could be in terms of gender, it could be in terms of the age group, it could be in terms of anything. The more diverse our organization is, we've definitely seen positive results in any field, whether you look at management, whether you look at technical, whether you look at accounting, finance. So, but my experience is limited to the last 7 years. So I would like to invite my father, who has been the patriarch for the entire business, and he can talk about his experience when it comes to the topic of diversity and how he's grown the company as an inclusive company for all.
Thank you. Mr. Haji Senior, take the word.
Mohammed has now passed the ball in my court. Anyway, I personally believe that, you see, there is a big difference between a family-owned business and a professional organization. Professional organization perhaps are more concerned with their equity, more concerned with their profits, and more concerned with maintaining their brand value, etc. But I have always believed that even a family business, it is the passion and also it is the values which are very effective in maintaining the sustainability. And in a family business, because of the vision or whatever it is of the concerned people, of the family members, or maybe the patriarch of the family, business then generally evolves or grows around that particular vision and the values. Having said this, from the beginning of starting our business and moving forward, as Mohammed said, yes, we have always looked at diversity in terms of various business activities. Today, we have a profile of a large number of activities in our group, right from boat building to boat repair to manufacturing and to designing and turnkey projects. But at the same time, we have a diverse group of people as well, and we have realized that a different work, I would say, programs or different activities or verticals require a different set of people. It is not necessary that the same set or same organizational skills and same technical skills are required for each activity. And therefore, even selecting a diverse operation brings in diversity anyway. And most importantly, I feel that as family-owned business, if we have to personally believe that yes, bringing in diversity, bringing in women in the right areas of operation where they could definitely excel and add value, because ultimately any family business will grow if we can create an area or an essence of excellence in our areas or in our business activities. And to create excellence, we have to have the right mix. We have to have the right diversity. What we've experienced in the past is that yes, recruitment is not very difficult, but retention is. And therefore, it is always our endeavor looking forward to create opportunities, to create areas where people can show their potential and skills and grow. And I firmly believe, like even in my own personal life, even in my family life, the women always have a very different set of perspective compared to the male thinking process. If I have a thinking one, my wife will definitely have a different perspective. And likewise, we've seen that if we can invite various perspectives in our thought process, in our actions, definitely the efficiency and the values go up because of the fact that we are having different set of ideas which are operating and bringing in more value. So my first point would be that in a family-owned business, if we firmly believe, and that is family-owned businesses could be the leaders in bringing in this diversity because of the fact that it is their choice, it is their option, whether they would like to have maintained the balances, create this diversity, and then move forward. So firstly is that we have to believe in it, and believe in it because of the fact that if we see the benefits of it, because no business can sustain itself until unless we see the benefit and we see the value in whatever we are doing. Because just by saying that, okay, I would like to have women, or I would like to make sure that we have a better balance, it would be futile to say this until unless we see that, yes, it adds value, because if it does not add value, I don't think this is going to work in the long run. So we have to identify areas where such diversity can create the value. And if it creates the value, it has to create value in the long term. So technically, what I believe is that we have to be open-minded. We have to also make sure that we are able to, bring in that diversity and utilize it to our benefit. And it is more amenable or more easily done in a family business rather than any professional organization which just doesn't, maybe does not have a cultural or a social interface. So this is what I feel, and that is what we've been doing. Today, we have almost 20% women in our organization at the moment.
That is a great number, because I know this is something that me and Sanjam has been talking a lot about over the years. How is it that we really drive this forward? I think you make an excellent point, Mr. Haji, also about like the long-term commitment and capabilities that family business owners can take compared to professionally owned or more kind of short-term sighted companies is of course key. Then I would like to ask Anisha to bring in some perspectives. And Anisha, when Sanjam was going to organize the first Maritime SheEO physically in Mumbai last year, I was supposed to travel over to you with one of the Transworld ships. And instead we had to really quickly reconfigure and spent half a year extra to set up the conference virtually, and we still managed to get it done. And we're still now, a year later, we're still in the digital world. But seen from your side, Anisha, how have you experienced this in your family group?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, unfortunately, your voyage could be completed to the final leg, but I think what you did was very exciting. So hopefully when things clear up, you can still start again.
I'll be back next year.
Yeah. So I think the way we look at it in Transworld is very similar to what Mr. Haji was saying. So as a family business, it is, you have that family aspect to it where you have a lot of empathy that's attached to the way you look at things. So for example, the way we look at it as Transworld is, I think the first thing that we look at is merit, right? So it's not women versus men or vice versa, but it's essentially who's merit and who can deliver. But based on that is where we look at them and sort of mentor them and groom them into what could happen. And I think another thing that we're doing, just sort of focusing on this aspect, is also, there was a study done recently where when you look at resumes and you don't look at the gender or the name, then you actually truly study the resume for the merit of the candidate. So that's something that we're also going to implement with the HR. So they don't look at the gender, but they look at it in a more holistic standpoint. So actually in the study, they found that more women ended up getting hired versus men when the gender and the name was not shown. So that's something that we're looking at. The other thing that we look at is also, I think, just making sure that women have a voice at the table. So generally what tends to happen is maybe there's a group of 5. Out of the 5, 1 is a woman, the other 4 are men, and they're working together on whatever presentation or project. But what we actually tend to do is we ensure that even if the woman is perhaps not the head of the unit or so per se, that she also presents. So she has a voice, and at least she presents her opinion as well. So I think these sort of small things make a difference. But I think the biggest thing actually is something that the elephant in the room to say is sort of the family life that has to be balanced between a woman and a man. So I think it is changing, and the role is changing where it is becoming more equal nowadays. But essentially that is still something to consider. So a few things that we do in Transworld, for example, is we give like a 90-day maternity leave, where it's a little bit more than what is required to give. But besides that, what we're also looking to do, for example, is tie up with daycare centers that are close to our offices, whether it's in India or whether it's in UAE, so that we just assist in that side as well. So I think all of these things are good to help with, but at the end of the day, I think it's just merit, right? I think using sort of the gender lens to look at it maybe ends up going a little bit in circle, because I think if you look at it with an open view, the woman's work speaks for itself, and they tend to they almost tend to prove themselves. So most of the women who I know in Transworld at least end up staying in the office much later than the men, because there's much more work to be done, many more things to do. So I think it is definitely changing. I think there are things that we can do as a family business to assist. And especially as Mr. Haji said, I think the empathy aspect is extremely important. And that's something that we also value quite a bit in terms of hearing out our employees and trying to do what's best for them and help them as their families, since they're part of our Transworld family. Thank you.
Thank you, Anisha. And I think this was kind of a perfect throwing the ball over to Katrina, ref to our previous conversation. Would you like to complement Anisha's perspectives on this, Katrina?
Yeah, and also Mohammed was touching in on it previously here as well. I do believe that it's very important to think about diversity and equality in a much broader sense than just the male-female perspective, which is of course very important, but it shouldn't be centralized only to that. We have to broaden our minds to think of it in a broader sense. It could be education, it could be nationality, religion, it could be what kind of experience you have, what kind of industry you come from. Because as several people have said here, it is when you bring different people together from different kinds of industries and perspectives that you get the good conversations and the good discussions to bring innovation into the company. I don't work in our family business. I work with the top management and board recruitment. And so we help our clients with these kinds of questions pretty much every day. And what we like to do is to challenge every client of ours to think about equality in a broader sense, but also to think about what does diversity mean for us? Because diversity can be quite different in company A and compared to company B. So you always have to think about what does diversity mean for us? Is it to balance the male-female discussion, or is it to bring other kinds of personalities and backgrounds into the company? Because it can be quite a different solution for everyone. We were all unique in our own way. Also, I think it's important to be aware of what it is we want to achieve with diversity. What will being focused on diversity mean for our business, and how will we use it to create value within our business? So the why and the how, I think, is also quite important aspects to pay attention to and to be aware of. And also, I just had a little side note, because I don't work in our family business on a day-to-day basis, but I am an owner, and traditionally it's been the oldest son who has always taken over in quite a lot of businesses around the world. In our case, we are 3 sisters, so we don't have an oldest son to take over. And so that's also something we have to be aware as family-owned companies. What will the next generation look like, and what will they do? And we also have, I think, have to be aware of what our role as owners should be going forward. I think it was more a tradition that the family was supposed to work in the day-to-day operations of the business and to manage the business, but maybe that's not necessarily the correct answer going forward. Maybe we are not the best ones fitted to manage the company, but we can be active owners outside the company, and we can have board positions and have a say in the long-term strategies and everything. But I think the awareness around what our roles should be and how you sort of should create the ownership and compared to the operational management, you should at least be aware of it. Yeah. And I also think as a young female, it's very motivating to see other women who takes the responsibility and takes the management role within their companies, and especially when they succeed. It's a very good thing, and I think focus on the topic, and also good places like this conference is a good way to help more women into the management positions.
Thank you, Katrina. Then I think I will head the mic over to Vaibhav. You already had a very engaged discussion on diversity earlier today. So would you mind bringing this in to our current context on, taking out the business case really of diversity into the family operations?
So, I mean, a lot has been said, but I'd like to take I'll take from what Mr. Weber said before me. He says, you need champions, or you need first movers. In a case such as ours, it's a family-run business, and it's a third-generation family-run business, which has mostly been family members as part of the management or the leadership, and also the shareholders. In which I definitely agree with what Katrina is saying, is that the two can be absolutely separate moving forward, and I think that's a large part of working towards a merit-based organization. Now, to drive a merit-based organization, you need to have an ecosystem. From what I was speaking before, and to have that ecosystem, you need to know direction to take. So having a champion or a leader for a cause who's motivated to not only bring results. So in the case of diversity, if there is a woman leader in the organization who wants to lead initially, might be restricted in companies like ours, for example, because we probably don't know what ecosystem is necessary to get the best out of the talent. So it somewhat boils down to a situation where you need a Formula One race car driver to drive a Formula One race car. So the ecosystem, the policy framework, the infrastructure that goes down from not only how you bring in policies of supporting women to give their best to the company, to give them that comfort to be able to give their best, that needs to be taken ground up, and for that to happen, you need champions, and it works faster in family-driven enterprises, because you have the family members as a board, and you have the management. In our case, for example, the family is the board, and is also actively the management. So implementation of perspective happens much faster, and if there is a willingness, both at a management and board level, you see that's the trick, and that's how it works much faster than any institutionalized organization. So, but that said, you still need somebody telling you what is required, because that perspective is unique to women itself, as Mr. Haji also said. Is that, look, and everybody before me has mentioned, is that women have a different way of approaching business, and until you're not told or educated, or somebody doesn't come and champion it in your ecosystem or organization, you really don't know what to do. There's one thing which the law, which is mandated by the administrative framework of any geography or any country, for example, or any industry that you are part of. But the more attraction happens only when you build a safe, a more productive ecosystem. So you need to really build the Formula One race car to bring in the Formula One drivers. From what I mean, if that example makes sense. So as a family business, and as us, I think we look forward to champions, and we've been trying to work with more champions. Women who are aggressively holding the bull by the horns and making this industry, at least in an Indian ecosystem, more of a ground for attracting women and getting the best out of them. So women who come in and say, look, we're going to perform and let us perform, as Mr. Reba said, is very important. But at the same time, having them champion or perform both with the management to build an ecosystem and convince everyone that this ecosystem will only bring more results for everyone. So I guess that's a position that all family businesses should take, and in our case as well, we are hopeful to take that as well.
That's excellent. And I thought that I would let now Kruti come with her perspectives as well, but then I would like to ask you, Kruti, also to add a small segue over to the next kind of round of question on innovation, because it was touched upon several times before that diversity fuels innovation. We are in a time now where all industries, all actors really are faced with a lot of different challenges at the same time, also even before COVID hit us. So Kruti, would you share some of your perspectives, but also look at where is it that you, if you round off by also sharing a little bit about how, which areas that you see in your company that you are going to need to change most, or where we are really hit with kind of the green shift and the need for innovation?
Well, I like to start off with being the second generation in the family business. When I decided to join the family business, my father really motivated me that, you can, are you sure you want to do it? Because like we all know that, it's mainly a male dominated industry. But I accepted the challenge, and of course he was there to support me on my every step that I took. I learned everything, and today here I am with the experience of almost 14-15 years that I've been in the family business. Well, over the times, like Mr. Haji also said, that it is very important that a family business motivates females to join in the business, irrespective of whether they are married or not married or anything. So that makes a lot of difference, and that's the cultural difference that today we are building up. Having said that, when we talk about initiations that we have taken, well, my father, my brother, and myself, we've taken a lot of initiations, and you'll be surprised that today in our industry, like we are a container freight station, as well as we are into warehousing and cold storages and transportation. So today in our organizations, we have got women in every leg of operations, may it be from labor, we have got labor females, we have got operators, we have got operational in charge, we have got customer care service, we have even to going up to a level of VP operations that are led by and headed by females. So we have taken a lot of, I wouldn't say chances, but a lot of planned strategies. And we have seen that having a woman in a certain position, what kind of difference has it created overall, what kind of difference has it created towards the team, what kind of difference that it bring in the strategies that we applied to increase our business, to diversify our business, to grow our business.
Thank you, Kruti. And when we hit the green shift, where is it that you see in your operations? Where will you have to innovate most? Where are you affected the most?
Well, I think we have touched upon all the all the stages in our organization where we could bring in more and more females. So we keep doing it over the years now. So I think most of our departments, as what you would say, or legs that you would say, we have females in all the legs already. So I don't think that there's much more that we can do. Of course, we are motivating more people to join in. So now the newest thing that we are planning to do is we are planning to recruit female drivers to operate our container trailers. We have around 300 trailers of our own. So now we are trying to introduce and motivate female drivers to drive these trailer vehicles. That's the new thing that we are still working on.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you, Kruti. And then I will hand the word now again for the last final remark on this plenary to Per Christian. For the Rieber Group facing the green shift, where are the most challenging and exciting areas for innovation where female talents at all levels should see exciting opportunities to contribute in your organization?
Wow, Birgit, that's a huge area you touch on. Could I first just comment on the maritime industry as such, because without being a psychoanalyst, I think that traditionally the studies at the high schools and universities has been the different subjects has been mechanical engineering and naval architecture, etc. That has attracted a lot of men, whereas nowadays also the other subjects is so important, and these are subjects that traditionally has attracted also women, like digitalization, like meteorology or climate subjects, etc. So that's also a shift without being too strict on the different categories, but just to try to put a visible example to it, so that to my opinion,
Let's see, did we lose Per Christian there for a while?
He froze in my window.
He froze in your window, yeah. Katrina, would you like to continue the process of perspectives from your father?
Well,
Generational challenge.
Yeah. I think he can finish his thoughts afterwards. But I think, from my perspective, I think we sort of need to innovate what we do and also how we do it, in order to use our competence and experience, but use it in new ways in order to innovate and to succeed also in the future, because we have to be relevant every single day and every single year ahead. And for our family business, shipping has been a very important part of our total business, and more specifically within the oil and gas sector we've been for many, many years. But now through the green shift in the world, I think we have to use that historic competence and experience in a new way in order to be more sustainable going forward, and rethink how we do our operations, and with what kind of ships, and sort of tweak every single little element in our operations towards. And for now, we have sort of shifted from the oil and gas sector, and we are becoming more of a project house towards renewables within ocean wind. So it's sort of using the traditional history and expertise, but using it in new ways going forward. And I also think in order to succeed in the sustainable transformation, we need to bring people from different industries and with different backgrounds and with different competence and expertise together in order to sort of drive and fuel that innovation in a much higher speed, because everything moves very fast, and in order to be relevant and to succeed going forward, you have to be in the front lines. So use the different perspectives you have, and put different people together, and then you will have a much more valuable discussion and better innovative ideas when you bring people from different industries together, because they can find new solutions that you wouldn't be able to find by yourself.
Mm. Thank you, Katrina. And this was kind of interesting because this was like the virtual, super quick family business generation transition. As Christian lost his connection for a short while, so it's kind of really in practice how it works. But Christian, Would you like to just add your kind of to conclude your remarks that you were in the middle of?
Thank you. I hope Katrina said the right stuff now. And I reckon you thought I'd spoken too long, so I'll try to be brief. My main point, Birgit, was that yes, we must be concerned about the big sort of rocket science projects, which is really rocking the boat. But we must also acknowledge and be very happy about all the small innovations being done sort of on an everyday basis. Somebody turning the button a little bit, or introducing a new process or a new way of doing things, because then you sort of reach a lot of more people in the organizations. And yes, we must push and acknowledge the real gold medalists, but we must also add up all these small innovations. And that's what we try to do also. We have an innovation challenge in our company. We've had that several times now, and that sort of lowers the barrier for people to come up with proposals and with innovation projects. And that also makes it somewhat easier or more attractive for women to sort of enter that scene. And we have had very good success with many teams with mixed gender. We have had only women genders, women team that has teamed up and come up with bigger or smaller innovations towards this green movement. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Per Christian. We are going in for landing in a few minutes. I know that, let's see here, Vaibhav isn't able to make it onto the closed roundtable. So I would like just to spend the past few minutes now until we go into the closed roundtable meeting for Vaibhav and for Anisha to just share some short remarks before we continue the conversations. So Vaibhav, welcome on stage to give your concluding remark, and then especially on, the future for your company.
So, I mean, thank you so much, and I believe at this point is just to add a little bit on the green revolution that's been happening. It's an initiative that every organization has to look forward towards, and internally, I think one key factor that we feel is a strong role for women is also to see through and leading this initiative internally, because in all honesty, I believe they are just more organized to drive it to successful fruition rather than distractions that other members of the leadership have had. And this is something that I mentioned in the previous session as well. Was that they see things through. So I mean, in this regard, we've from a conclusion perspective, I think we do look forward to championing at our end whatever we can to make this industry as a safer place, or more as a first choice. I'm not going to call it safer again, because that's limited to the Indian ecosystem, and it's something that obviously every organization should provide. But it's a first choice for women to choose to be a part of, and in fact grow into strong value contributors and find their position in leadership. And from a family business perspective, I've twin girls, so I hope one day they also form a part of the company, not only at a board level or ownership level, but also at a management level, and obviously through the right merit and ownership. So from my side, I think that would be ideal to see in time to come. I'll go over to you, Anisha.
Yes, Anisha.
Yeah, thank you. So I think from my end, I think just a few closing remarks. I think for me, a lot of, at least like personally, what motivated me is I come from a family of four. So it's my mother, father, me, and my brother, older brother. But the thing is, even growing up, it was never sort of understood that it would just be him, you know, in the business. But it was also an open question to, we were given the opportunity to choose what we wanted. But growing up, it was always said that I need to be financially independent. Even when I was in middle school, it was just something that was said. And I think that sort of triggered the need for me to sort of push and make sure whatever I study, whatever I do, I'll be able to, you know, do it wherever I am on my own, no matter what. And I think these sort of skills also translate into your work. And I think it definitely shows in terms of like how I'm leading my work and what I'm doing in that. So I think for me, at least, like a big cheerleader is my father. And I'm sure it's the case with a lot of women who are also working in family businesses. So I think that whole mindset is changing. I'm glad it's changing. It has to change. So I think eventually, even like what Weber was saying with his daughters, I'm sure the way he's going to raise them as well will be no different from how he would raise his son, probably. So I think that is the biggest thing, just, you know, the mindset. And I think when we discuss these at women conferences, I think the biggest thing is you need buy-in from the men as well, right? If you don't have that, I think it's only a one-sided thing. So with the mindset changing, with the merit coming in, I'm sure there's more to come, and there'll be a more positive and more equitable future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anisha. And now we have, let's see, they are rounding up the recording part, and it has been amazing to hear the very open perspectives. And I do believe, at least I see from my side, there are it's very well alignment between the Norwegian side from the owners and the Indian side. So this is really interesting. It also kind of confirms the perspectives that I've been sharing with Sanjam and others over these past years, of the kind of more global collective focus that is also changing. So let's see, now we are rounding off the live stream and the plenary part. I hope all of the audience have really enjoyed this, getting to sit around the virtual table with the actual owners in the companies. And thank you for all the comments on the value of this, seeing this from your end as participants. I'm very grateful for all the owners that have taken their time here today to join us. And I also just would want to send regards to everyone watching from now, I think more than 60 countries internationally. I hope this also served as inspiration, whether you are a business owner, top executive, middle manager, or if you're even a cadet just on your way out to embark on a very exciting career in the maritime industry. So now we're rounding this up here. We will continue now on the closed roundtable.